In the previous Swayambhuva Manvantara, he had been born of a part of Madhava, that is Vishnu. For a full period of 20 years, he wandered over the earth, taking with him an army along with horses, chariots, and elephants, surrounded by hundreds and thousands of Brahmana wielding weapons. He killed all the Mlachas all around, along with those kings, the heretics born of Shudra women. The Lord exterminates those heretics. Everywhere he kills all those who are not scrupulously religious. The Lord, who was strong and who annihilated all the Mlachas, slew these also people who were born of parents of different castes, those who depended on them.
The Odisseas, Northerners, Madhya Desyas, persons of middle lands, Parvatiyas, mountain dwellers, Prakyas, Easterners, Pratikyas, Westerners, those who talk about on the ridges of the Vindhya mountains, Dakshinatyas, Southerners, Dravidas, along with Simhalas, Ceylonese, Gandhara, Paradas, Pahalvas, Yavanas, Sakas, Tusaras, Barbaras, Sinas, that's Chinese, Sulikas, Daradas, Khasas, Lampakaras, Katakas, and different tribes of Kiratas. The powerful Lord wielding the discus slew all these barbarous people. Translated by G.V. Thagare. So, what right your God has to kill the Mlachas, the followers of Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhs, Muslims, and Christians? Answer this first and then spread hate against Christians. Namaskar. Welcome to Gnani's World.
In this video, let us see the misinterpretation of Luke chapter 19, 27 verse, done by hate mongers. There is a statement in Luke chapter 19, 11 to 27 verses, the parable of the pounds, that many opponents of Christianity and Hindutva hate mongers have used to convey the point that Jesus commanded his disciples to kill anyone that refused to be ruled by Christ. The same statement is used by Mission Kali too on Twitter. Another hate monger misleading people, mostly its followers, by creating posts to show their hatred towards Christians. This is the post of Mission Kali on Twitter, using a relevant image of killing along with the verse for your reference. But those enemies of mine, who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me. From Luke chapter 19, 27. Mission Kali admin for the livelihood wants to strengthen its online begging mission with false interpretation of this Bible verse. Dear viewers of Gnani's World, of course, Mission Kali has taken it out of the context and misinterpreted. Now, let us see, how is this a misinterpretation? Did Jesus not make this statement? Yes, he did. So how can we Christians explain this command of Jesus to kill those who would not be ruled by him? Before we continue, please like the video and give your feedback in form of comment. It shows your support and encouragement to us. Do subscribe if you are here for the first time. First of all, if you notice, the disciples were not a military group. They were not equipped to make war or fight. Neither did they carry out their alleged command of Christ. Have you ever wondered why? It is because Jesus did not direct them to do so. Because he was reciting not his words, but the words of a character in his parable, that is, story of the pounds. The disciple knew that the Christ was just telling a story, not giving a command to be followed. One of the reasons to misinterpret Luke chapter 19:27 is because as a hate monger of Christianity, Mission Kali always have a habit of disregarding the context of the verse they cite in their post. The context of the verse is preceded by the parable of the pounds, which is very similar to the parable of the talent, and is followed by the Jesus heading to Jerusalem. The emphasis of the two parables is different from each other. However, The parable of the talent that is found in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 25 emphasizes stewardship. The parable of the pounds not only emphasizes stewardship but it also discloses what may happen to those who refuse to comply with the ruler of their time. Jesus was regarded neither as a ruler or even a nobleman. Jesus was in many people's eyes as a carpenter's son, although he was qualified to be a king of Israel, for he was the descendant of King David. The nobles in Jesus' days were the Romans and whosoever they appointed to govern Judea. Jesus, through the teaching of this parable, was making his disciples understand what rulers do when they take over dominion. They eliminate their enemies. They squash any hint of rebellion. The disciples never took the instruction as a command to slay anyone that refused to be ruled by Jesus. Dear viewers of Gnani's World, here, by now we understood Mission Kali, a hate-monger of Christians, clearly misinterpreted the verse. The nobleman goes to receive a kingdom. Likewise, Jesus said that he was on his way to receive a kingdom of his Father in heaven. Mark 14:25, Luke 22:29-30. The fact of the matter is that nobleman could be anyone but not Jesus, because Jesus does not command his disciples to kill anyone. Here are a few direct commands of Jesus to his disciples. Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. Matthew chapter 5, 43-45. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Matthew 5, 21-22. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hangs all the laws and the prophets. Matthew chapter 22, 37-40. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest. For he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. Luke chapter 6, 35. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. John 13:34. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12. One thing that is noticeable about these commands of Christ, not one of them is a parable or was issued from a parable. None of the direct commands of Christ direct any one of his disciples to kill anyone for refusing to subject themselves to his rule. So, the nobleman's words cited by Christ in the parable of the pounds to kill anyone that refuses to be ruled by him are the commands of a fictional character and not of Jesus. Jesus does not use parables to issue commands. He speaks directly to him, he directs. Hope now you understood the context and whose statement is it. Now understand how Mission Kali is using biblical verses out of context, twisting to fool its followers and instigate hatred towards Christians and their God.
Mission Kali, by twisting the scripture, wants to prove Jesus is not about love and peace. Dear viewers of Gnani's World, now it's time to give it back. What should be the behavior of the Manuvadi Brahmins towards the Nastiks and Vedanandaks? Let us turn to Atharva Veda, Kanda 12, Sukta 5, Mantra 62. This mantra has been translated by Arya Samaj scholar Pandit Kem Karan Das Trivedi as follows. Rend to bits, rend through and through, scorch and consume and burn to dust, the one who rejects the Vedas. We do not think the above words leaves any ambiguity as to who the enemies mentioned in the Vedas are. The mantra speaks for itself. It also prescribes the most gruesome forms of slaughter of those who disbelieve in the Vedas. Now, let us turn to Atharva Veda, Khanda 12, Sukta 5, Mantra 65 to 71. This mantra has been translated by Arya Samaj scholar Pandit Kem Karan Das Trivedi as follows. Mantra 65. So, O Goddess, do thou from him, the Brahman's tyrant, criminal, niggard, blasphemer of the gods. Mantra 66. With 100 knotted thunderbolt, sharpened and edged with razor blades. Mantra 67. Strike off the shoulders and the head. Mantra 68. Snatch thou the hair from off his head, and from his body strip the skin. Mantra 69. Tear out his sinews, cause his flesh to fall in pieces from his frame. Mantra 70. Crush thou his bones together, strike and beat the marrow out of him. Mantra 71. Dislocate all his limbs and joints. Dear viewers of Jnani's World, these Vedic teachings were recently put into effect when innocent Muslims were burnt alive and tortured in the Indian state of Gujarat. Christians were burnt alive in many places of India, especially in Orissa, Jains and Buddhists in ancient times, and Muslims and Christians and Sikhs in recent times have been made the experimental mice of these teachings. As per the Hindutva Dasavatara concept, Vishnu has taken the form of Buddha, and again the same Vishnu will come again taking Kalki avatar. When he has taken the avatar of Buddha, he established Buddhism. Srimad Bhagavatam 2:7-37. Asuras, the enemies of the celestials, became proficient in the knowledge of the Vedas, and having got made by Mayadanabha, an Asura of that name, an invisible city of velocity, engaged themselves in the destruction of the people. Thereupon the glorious God incarnated himself as Buddha, and with a view to bring about a confusion of their understanding and to create avarice in them, taught them many false religions in the guise of Pashanda, one setting the true religious texts at naught. Translated by J.M. Sanyal. Padma Purana 6, 252, 108-115. The glorious one, taking up the form of Buddha, deluded his enemies. Those who were deluded by that teaching gave up all religious practices. Translated by N.A. Deshpande. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:4-22. In his incarnation as Buddha, he shall bewilder by his arguments of ahimsa, non-injury, the Daityas performing sacrifices though not entitled to perform thereof. Then in Kali Yuga, incarnating himself as Kalki, he shall slay the Shudra kings. Translated by J.M. Sanyal. Note the important point here. The glorious God Vishnu incarnated himself as Buddha and confused the understanding and created many false religions, of which Buddhism is major false religion. Now the same Vishnu come as Kalki and kill all people following Buddhism. What is the crime of Buddhists that they deserve to die at the hands of Kalki avatar? Because they are Buddhists, they are heretics? I am using Kalki Purana, which is translated and edited by ISKCON scholars Bhumipati Das and Purna Prajna Das, and the translation is published as Sri Kalki Purana. Sri Kalki Purana 13, 39-44. Lord Kalki appeared to flourish, being surrounded by all these family members. Once, Lord Kalki's father, Vishnuyasa, who was on the level of Lord Brahma, decided to perform a horse sacrifice. Understanding the intention of his father, Lord Kalki said, "My dear father, I'll go out and defeat all other kings in battle and thus bring you sufficient wealth so that you can conduct the horse sacrifice properly." Lord Kalki, who was certainly capable of conquering all other kings, offered his obeisances to his father and then set out with his army to first conquer Kikatapura. Most of the inhabitants of this city were Buddhists, who were never offered oblations to their forefathers nor worshipped the demigods. They did not designate themselves or their families in terms of caste, and thus there was no conception of high or low birth. As far as earning, wealth, marriage, or eating were concerned, they had no sense of discrimination. The people of that city were interested only in eating, drinking, and making merry. When the ruler of that city, who was named Jinnah, heard that Lord Kalki had come to fight, he quickly gathered an army consisting of one Aksohini. Translated by Bhumipati Das, edited by Purna Prajna Das. Sri Kalki Purana 16:1. Sudha Goswami said, after killing the Buddhists and Malachas of Kikatapura, Lord Kalki took their wealth and returned to his capital along with his vast army. Translated by Bhumipati Das, edited by Purna Prajna Das. Dear viewers of Gnani's World, now Shiva too incarnates to stop Buddhism. According to Hindu scriptures and scholars, Shiva incarnated on earth and he too established a false philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, just to stop another false philosophy called Buddhism. Hindu scholars considers Adi Shankaracharya to be an incarnation of Shiva, as Adi Shankaracharya had successfully stopped Buddhism and even persecuted Buddhists and Jains and established objectionable philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, for which he was sometimes considered crypto-Buddhist by some Hindu scholars. It's mentioned in Padma Purana, wherein Shiva says, Padma Purana 6:236-7. O goddess, in the age of Kali, I will appear in the form of Brahmana to preach the false doctrine of Mayavada, which is simply covered Buddhism.
Padma Purana 6:236-11. This powerful doctrine of Mayavada resembles the Vedas, but is by nature non-Vedic. O goddess, I propagate this philosophy in order to destroy the world. Padma Purana 6:236-7. Indisputably, the Brahmana mentioned in the verse is none other than the great Indian philosopher of monastic Vedanta, Adi Shankara. Now, can Mission Kali answer, what is the crime of Buddhists that they deserve to die at the hands of Shiva and Vishnu? Because they are Buddhists, they are heretics. Then who spread Buddhism? Is not Vishnu in the form of Buddha created false religion called Buddhism? Then why Shiva incarnated as Adi Shankaracharya and killed Buddhist monks? And not only that, he too spread false religion Mayavada. Finally, in Brahmanda Purana 1:2:31, 77-84, it is written like this. In the previous Swayambhuva Manvantara, he had been born of a part of Madhava, that is Vishnu. For a full period of 20 years, he wandered over the earth, taking with him an army along with horses, chariots, and elephants, surrounded by hundreds and thousands of Brahmana wielding weapons. He killed all the Mlachas all around along with those kings, the heretics born of Shudra women. The Lord exterminates those heretics. Everywhere he kills all those who are not scrupulously religious. The Lord, who was strong and who annihilated all the Mlachas, slew these also people who were born of parents of different castes, those who depended on them.
The Odisseas, Northerners, Madhya Desyas, persons of middle lands, Parvatiyas, mountain dwellers, Prakyas, easterners, Pratikyas, westerners, those who talk about on the ridges of the Vindhya mountains, Dakshinatyas, southerners, Dravidas, along with Simhalas, Ceylonese, Gandhara, Paradas, Pahalvas, Yavanas, Sakas, Tusaras, Barbaras, Sinas, that's Chinese, Sulikas, Daradas, Khasas, Lampakaras, Katakas, and different tribes of Kiratas. The powerful Lord, wielding the discus slew all these barbarous people. translated by G.V. Thagare. So, what right your God has to kill the Mlachas, the followers of Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhs, Muslims, and Christians? Answer this first and then spread hate against Christians. Dear viewers of Gnani's World, if you liked our video, please comment your feedback and press the like button and share it with others to spread the truth. If you're here for the first time, please do subscribe for more knowledge-packed videos.